over 225,000 people who visit this location in any given year. This is one of the most visited historical homes in North America. And this guy next to me, he had over 1,093 patents. We're talking about Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. Let's take a look inside. Now, the estates are located in the historic district in Fort Myers. And if you're visiting this area, you're gonna wanna make sure that you stop by. There's some really incredible things to see between the botanical gardens and all of the inventions and the laboratory. It's gonna be a really good ride for you, so let's go in. And once you park at the Edison and Ford Estates and you walk across McGregor Boulevard, you're gonna come across the banyan tree that I'm right in front of. And this is one of the largest banyan trees in the entire United States. It's actually a gift from Harvey Firestone back in the 1920s. So what you're looking at here is a banyan tree that's over 100 years old. It's really impressive. Now, as you can imagine, the history is very rich here. It was 1886 when Thomas Edison finished the main residence, the Seminole Lodge. Now, how was it built? It's quite interesting in that it was not actually built here locally. It was constructed, prefab construction in Maine, and then brought down via steamboat and assembled here on site. Pretty incredible that he was able to do that back in the late 1800s, but I wouldn't put it past him, let's just put it that way. Now, after Edison had moved to the property in the winter months, it became the early 1900s, and actually there was one pool in all of Fort Myers, and that was a hotel pool in downtown Fort Myers. So what did he do? He wanted to build his own retreat on property, and so in 1911 he finished construction of this beautiful pool. At the time it was amazing. Now, not so much, but think about how big of a difference that would make to have your own private pool at that time. Now we see resort-style pools all over Southwest Florida. This was a different time. And by the way, the total project cost for this pool behind me, $1,000. Now, there are a lot of different reasons why Thomas Edison could have and did choose Fort Myers as his location for his winter estate. It's very hard to get to Southwest Florida. There were no major roads, there was no railroad system, and actually the only accessibility for Edison was to get here by steamboat. But I'll tell you, one of the things that's most interesting is that he was an avid fisherman and also loved botanical gardens. So this was the perfect location for him, and it was a bit away from other civilization, and so it was a time for him to get away and think. And as the folklore goes, you go to the end of this pier here and actually fish for tarpon and other types of fish. And he would often do that with no bait on the hook, with just an empty hook. Well, why did he do that? Actually, it was just so he could get some time thinking. He didn't actually think he would catch any fish that way, but it was ability to get some time alone to himself and do some of his deeper thinking right out on this pier. So here I am in front of the Seminole Lodge, which is what Edison's home, guest home, that was what it was named. And right in front of me, I'm in, this is the guest house, or right behind me, I should say, is the guest house. And it was originally built for their very good friends. This is where the kitchen is, etc. And Thomas Edison and Mina had a separate home that you can see in the background there that was their own private residence. And then we have the beautiful view over the Caloosahatchee River right behind us here. Really extraordinary. Now, compared to the homes on the estate, this may not look like much, but this was actually Edison's study. It was originally part of the plan. Two very interesting things about this particular piece of property. So the main home was $12,000 to build the entire main home. This little study was $16,000 because of all the equipment and everything that Edison needed for his inventions. And one other quick note, this is amazing, in 1887, this was the home of the coal-fired steam boiler that supplied electricity for the estate, which was a full 11 years before there was electricity to the city of Fort Myers. Here I am in front of Henry Ford's estate, and really interesting, Henry Ford's estate was built with local materials by local artisans. And they built the main house here first, and what happened over time is they built the secondary addition over for the secretary, one for the maid, and actually Henry Ford's bedroom is upstairs. His residence, very well done. So unlike Edison, Ford's estate is actually very open. You see a lot of open grass, beautiful royal palm trees, and again, nice open views of the Caloosahatchee River. And then it wouldn't be complete without his garage with all of the old school Ford motor cars. Depending on what time of year you visit, an actual pro tip would be to go and visit the residences first on the other side of McGregor Boulevard, and then do the museum and laboratory afterwards so you get the air conditioning a little bit later in the morning or in the day. Now you can spend hours going around the museum. There's a couple of options when you visit. You can actually do a self-guided tour and take your time, or you can do a guided tour and really get into some of the intricate details between the lives of these amazing inventors. Now this amazing laboratory is where so many inventions happened, and one of his biggest missions in Fort Myers, along with Ford and Firestone, was to develop synthetic rubber so the United States was not dependent upon foreign countries for rubber for the automobile tire.
Now I have to say that I am actually quite grateful to Thomas Edison, because what he did, obviously he invented a whole lot of things that make life better for all of us as we know it. But the other thing that he did locally is really pave the way for development in Fort Myers. Prior to Thomas Edison, Fort Myers barely existed on a map, and it was really him who created the resort town that it is today. Now, the Edison estate was actually visited by some very famous people, especially of the time. Multiple presidents have visited the Thomas Edison estate, as well as even Charles Lindbergh, Major League Baseball teams. This was quite the destination for a lot of years.
Well, like most everything, it is much better in person, and I hope this gave you a really good preview for what you can expect when you visit Fort Myers and go to the Edison and Ford estates. It's absolutely incredible, so make this part of your journey. And by the way, watch this last video and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Have a great day.